Hey Fruit Faces, it is Clary Berry. There's been a lot of talk throughout, especially the past couple of years, about this whole fat acceptance thing. And I just want to share my thoughts with this. I basically don't believe in the fat acceptance movement. I'm not saying I dislike people that are fat. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're evil. I'm not even saying they're gluttonous or anything else like that. I'm not saying I wouldn't accept them as a friend, as a family member, or whatever, or a member of the vegan community. But my problem is with the movement, with the fat acceptance movement. It sounds like a good idea. It's just like that All About That bass song. It sounds like a good idea, but then when you actually go and read the lyrics, think about what she's saying, it's not a good message. It's not necessary. It's not helpful. Now, there's a couple different topics that I'm going to be covering in this video that I will probably have to do follow-up videos on, because this is not going to be, oh, here's my proof, here's my scientific evidence and all of that. This is just going to be strictly my opinions, and they are based on scientific evidence and fact that I've collected over the years. But like I said, I'm not going to be sharing all of that in this video because it would be a super long video. So what I'm saying is I accept fat people, or people who have fat. I have fat as well. I accept that. Okay, I'm specifically talking about the fat acceptance movement that says I'm going to flaunt my stuff, be perfectly okay with being overweight. This kind of has to do with this obesity paradox too, which is false. And I will get into that and talk about that in another video, but basically it's false. It's based off of BMI. There's caveats. They're looking at certain populations with certain diseases and saying that after they get these diseases, people with more body fat are living longer, and they're trying to say that's proof that they're healthier, and they're really just taking one thing and saying something completely different. And of course, when a scientific journal gets posted, the way that it's promoted in the media really is almost one of the most important things, because the average person isn't going to go read the study that was actually there. They're just going to be able to say things and this study said it, so that's what is spread out to all the people. Like I say, I accept fat people. I just don't accept the fat movement. I don't think that we should accept being overweight as a perfectly fine and perfectly healthy thing to do. It all started, I watched this Andrew Perlot video that was talking about how, I think his then girlfriend at the time was Brittany, and how she lost a bunch of weight, how some people were saying that, she looked better before, and he had a bunch of studies that showed that, well, actually people that are a little bit less than what we would normally think are actually healthier. And he looked at some studies that had to do with BMI, and one of them was an Italian study based on health costs per person and at their BMI level, and they found that like 17.5 or so was like about the optimal BMI for the lowest health costs. And Japan and other studies have shown that between 18 and 19 is more optimal than anything else as well. Now, there's been a lot of studies done on this issue, and a lot of them have this curve where the smaller you are, and a lot of them they'll lump in, from 15 to 18.5 altogether. And I just think it's odd, first of all, that with such a defining line going down, 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 there's not more interest in finding out exactly where that point lies. That to me is a red flag. And me, I'm untrustworthy of the system and the powers that be and all of that. But I just think it's funny because every other number is just done on that one number. And for this one, they're lumping 15, 16, 17, and 18s all together, up to 18.5. So, and a lot of the studies are very clearly biased. They are not even canceling out smokers, diseases. Some of them say they'll cancel out for diseases, but they don't do a very good job at it before and after. And so a lot of those people in that lower bracket are actually sick. They may not even know it. They may be smokers. They may get, have cancer, like I said, and not know it. And that is why they're at a lower weight, or they're not canceling out for, anorexic people. And I think it's important to realize that when you have this BMI cutoff of 18.5 as healthy, when you get under 18.5, that doesn't mean that you're automatically unhealthy. Just like that, it doesn't necessarily mean if you're a little bit over the overweight side that you're automatically unhealthy. However, the risks are there. They go up apparently again after under 18.5 to 15, which is total BS in my opinion. And they're basically, everybody is trying to say that it's actually better to be a little bit more overweight. Again, the studies I think are a little bit flawed. But there's other research that shows that every additional 2 inches you have on your stomach actually increases your rate of obesity, or your rate of death by 15 to 17%, depending on if you're male or female. So this is a study that I've looked at and I've seen that I really trust. Again, all of these studies are done differently. They're done on different groups of people. You have to look at the study size. You can't just say, oh, this news article said that being fat is better than being skinny, so I'm just going to allow myself to eat whatever I want and do whatever I want to my body. You can be fitter at a higher, BMI than a so-called skinny person. You can be healthier. That is absolutely possible. There's a lot of leeway. And with BMI, it's, I think everybody knows by now, it's not that reliable. It's very crude, they say. And you can have, for your BMI, you could have a high percentage of body fat or a low percentage of body fat. It doesn't really calculate that. And so when looking at the BMI issue, it's not really all that clear as to which is healthier, being underweight or being overweight. But when you take a look at a different standard of measurement, when you look at waist circumference, the story is completely different. And I was really surprised by what I found. Again, I'm not going to give you all of the details on this, but basically just know that, and you guys can obviously, I encourage you to go look this stuff up yourself, but when you actually just look for waist circumference, it's very much more clear. Basically, there is no J-hook at the bottom of the waist circumference. Basically, the smaller the waist circumference, the healthier you are. And again, there's different ways to measure it. Some of it's all-cause mortality, some of it's heart disease, some of it's diabetes, some of it is health costs. And I've seen different, all different ones. But waist circumference is just about the best. And then there's also waist to hip ratio, which is also better, because again, it's the belly fat that is so dangerous. That's the worst kind of fat, for numerous different reasons. It's related to heart disease, it's related to alcohol, it's related to cancers, and all sorts of stuff. This is where I'm coming from when I say I don't want overweight and obese people to be okay with that. I mean, I don't want them to hate themselves, but I don't want them to think that it's healthy falsely, because that's not going to work out well. I mean, it's very clear that being overweight and obese is a huge risk factor for heart disease, cancer, diabetes, etc. And what are the risk factors for being underweight? The risk factors for underweight are malnutrition if you're not eating, low bone density if you're not exercising, if you're not eating. Basically, most of the risks have to do with being anorexic. That's it. Some studies, like I said, have shown heart disease goes up. But again, those are flawed studies. So again, check out the studies on waist circumference, and you will find that it's not healthy. It's not healthy. With 69% of people in this country being overweight already, and the statistics steadily going up, in the next 20 or so years, you're looking at close to 100% of people being overweight or obese if stats continue the way that they are. So I think that the media has sort of grabbed a hold of this fat acceptance movement and kind of paid a little bit more attention to it. I think there's a lot of different aspects at play, but again, I don't trust it. Again, I think if you're overweight, of course you should accept yourself. Of course you should love yourself. And part of that loving yourself is self-care and treating yourself healthily and changing your habits and making your whole entire lifestyle healthy. Of course, I want you to lose the weight in a good way. Of course, I want you to do high carb, low fat, vegan lifestyle so that you can lose the weight while still eating, still nourishing your cells in your body, and still being able to increase your fitness, because it's very important for your health in all, I mean, it's all aspects, your bones, your lymphatic system, your brain, your immune system, everything is helped by exercise. It's just one of those things you can't get around it. So I just don't want people to take this fat acceptance movement. I think people get a little bit defensive, they've gotten fat and they want to use this as an excuse to keep on doing what they're doing, to keep on eating meat, to keep on having their bad habits, and to not worry about, all this saturated fat and exercising and all this stuff. And I want everyone to know that my heart has always gone out to really super obese people. When I see them walking down the street, I'm just like, oh, I wish I could help them. It breaks my heart to watch people struggling to take steps. And here in the Midwest, I see it all the time. There's a lot of really, really obese people around here. And it really makes me upset. I feel like everybody should wake up and feel great. I feel like everybody should be be comfortable in their own skin, and to be able to do certain things with their kids, or just go, walk and hike, and to me, that's everybody's God-given right. And I feel like the media and the government and the system has basically shifted us so much and told us it's okay to eat processed food, it's okay to eat meat, it's okay to do all this stuff. So I'm not blaming anybody who's overweight. I really feel like there was a conspiracy against you and it's not your fault. I really feel like that. But I just don't want you to keep on buying into this lifestyle of, standard American diet, and keep on telling yourself that it's okay and all of this other stuff. We need to stop making excuses, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and realize that it doesn't have to be a struggle. You don't want to put negative energy into your path, into your journey here. You want to keep it positive. You want to, again, focus on the health. I recommend tracking a lot of different types of progress, not just your weight. Track your waist, track your measurements, I have apps for everything, lists that I do every day. I'll talk more about this if you guys are interested, which apps I'm using, reminders, apps where I can track my fitness and I like to see that line go up, and it's fun for me. I don't have any games on my phone anymore because I want my life to be real. I want my games to be in reality, and it is fun. It becomes a game when you wake up and say, oh, ding, did that one, ding, did that one, and I'm feeling so great. I always say this, but when you make good choices, that's how you get confidence, and it leads you to making better choices in the future, not only because you have that confidence, but because you feel good, and it's positive reinforcement. And this is like one of my main things I always talk about too. Healthy living and eating is not a chore. It can be a chore if you make it a chore. It can be miserable if you let it be, if you allow it to be, but it doesn't have to be that way. I've got videos on fitness. Go to my playlist and find the fitness videos. I think fitness should be fun. I skate my dog every day. I love jumping on my trampoline. Riding on my bike is easy, and I do it while I'm watching movies. Hiking with my kids. I get on my Indo board, and I think I'm going to do another video also on my fitness lately. Dancing. I think fitness should be fun. Go play basketball. Find what you like and stick with it, and make it a part of your everyday life, because consistency is key. And, we got to be careful what the system and what the media all wants us to do, because these corporations at the top, it's all just a few small companies that are trickling down, and they all want the same thing. They want your money, they want the power, and it's big pharma, and it's all of these processed foods and meat and dairy industries all mixed up together, all coming out at the top. And that is why, they want us consuming these products. They want us consuming their drugs. They want customers, not cures. So this is why it's an act of rebellion to be fit, healthy, vegan. Every day you're voting with your money. You're putting forth, what you stand for and what you want for the future. So buy organic, buy vegan, buy cruelty free, show the world what you stand for. and change yourself from the inside out. So got a little rambly on this one. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'll be doing some follow-up videos. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please accept yourself. Please love yourself. If you just wake up every day in the morning and you are like having negative feelings, you look in the mirror and all you feel is negativity, please go and write out a journal of all of the great things that you've done in your life. Maybe not even great. Maybe you're young or you don't feel like you've done a lot. Start at the beginning when you learned how to ride a bike. You learned how to write. You learned how to do this. You did this really well. Make a list of all the things you learned how to do. A lot of those things you maybe never thought you could do, or it was a big struggle and you figured it out. Again, thinking about those things and adding to that list all the time is going to help you have a better confidence and realize that you can do new things. You can change who you are. Go in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, and tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to start taking care of you. I'm going to start loving you the way that you should be loved. And again, when you make the right choices, when you eat healthy foods, those foods are going to become better tasting for you the more you get the old excitotoxins and old foods, extra salt and fat out of your diet. You are going to be craving these, sweet. You need good fruits to keep that sweet, because sweet is actually our innate taste. Salt and fat comes after it. They're both acquired taste. What we need is the sugars in fruit. And when you're eating those, you're going to feel so good. You're going to feel better immediately. You may have a detox period if you're coming from standard American or whatever, but you're going to feel great. And again, it's going to make you keep on doing this lifestyle. It's easy. It's fun. It's tasty. You get to eat literally all day, almost as much as you want. I mean, as much as you want. Exercise it off, work it off. You'll have the energy when you actually are consuming foods that have good nutrients in them, a wide variety of them. So, yeah, accept yourself, but don't accept the fact that you have to be fat or overweight for the rest of your life, because it's not optimal. It's not going to be healthy. It's going to lead to problems. The number one, again, when you look at this, think about it this way. 1 out of 4 people dies from cancer. Between 2 and 3 people die from heart disease, more from stroke and diabetes as well. They're all in the top 5 or 6 of the top deaths out of all deaths in America.